Good evening, and welcome to a special report that could mark the beginning of a new chapter in global finance. Tonight we're witnessing a seismic shift, one that could reshape the way the world does business, saves money, and even thinks about power. On January 20th, 2026, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, joined by new partners like Saudi Arabia, unveiled their own gold-backed currency. They call it the unit. This isn't just another coin or a digital token. The unit is a direct challenge to the US dollar's decades-long reign as the world's reserve currency. For nearly a century, the dollar has been the backbone of global trade. It's the currency that oil is priced in, that countries use to settle debts, and that central banks stockpile for security. This has given the United States enormous influence over the world economy. But now, a coalition of major economies is saying, enough is enough. They're tired of playing by rules set in Washington, and they want to write their own. The launch of the unit, announced with great fanfare in Johannesburg, is more than a financial event. It's a declaration of independence from the old system. BRICS leaders, from the bustling cities of Brazil to the vast landscapes of China, from the oil fields of Saudi Arabia to the vibrant streets of South Africa, stood shoulder to shoulder. They called the unit a tool for fairer, more stable trade, promising it would protect their economies from the shocks and policies of distant powers. In plain terms, they're building a financial system that doesn't depend on the US dollar or the decisions of American policymakers. It's about taking back control. Does this mean the dollar will collapse overnight? Not at all. The greenback is still deeply woven into the fabric of global finance. But make no mistake, this is the start of something big, and the world is watching closely. Imagine tectonic plates shifting beneath our feet. The global financial landscape is moving, slowly but surely, and the aftershocks will be felt for years to come. For the first time in generations, the dollar's total dominance is being openly questioned. Traders, investors, and governments are all asking, what comes next? This isn't just a headline for economists or politicians. It's a fundamental change that will ripple across the world, affecting everything from the price of groceries to the cost of borrowing money. For everyone, from factory workers in Ohio to shopkeepers in Mumbai, from families in Johannesburg to business owners in Shanghai, these changes will eventually be felt in daily life. Exchange rates, job markets, and even the value of your savings could shift as the world adapts. The ground beneath our feet is moving. The rules of global money are being rewritten, and the old playbook may no longer apply. The unit is more than just a new currency. It's a bold statement, a signal that the old order is being challenged, and that new voices are demanding a seat at the table. The world is entering a new, unpredictable era. Uncertainty is high, but so is the potential for innovation and change. So buckle up, because the story of the unit and the future of global money is just beginning. Things are about to get very interesting. Let's dive in. So, who are BRICS? Originally Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now joined by Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, and Egypt. Together, they represent nearly half the world's population and a huge chunk of global GDP. Their main issue? The US dollar's grip on global trade. For 80 years, the dollar has been the world's reserve currency, giving the US outsized power. BRICS nations are tired of their economies being tied to decisions made in Washington. They want a multipolar world, multiple centers of power, not just one. Creating their own currency is their first step toward that balance. It's about economic independence, not just politics. The story of the dollar's global reign begins in 1944, at a small town in New Hampshire called Bretton Woods. There, in the aftermath of World War II, delegates from 44 nations gathered to reshape the world's financial system and prevent another economic catastrophe. The solution they agreed on was simple but powerful. Most countries would peg their currencies to the US dollar, and the dollar itself would be tied to gold. This made the dollar the backbone of global finance, a position it had never held before. But in 1971, President Richard Nixon shocked the world by ending the dollar's direct link to gold. Many thought this would weaken the dollar's power. Instead, the opposite happened. The dollar became the world's financial anchor, trusted by governments, banks, and investors everywhere. Central banks across the globe began holding vast reserves of dollars. Oil, the world's most vital commodity, and countless other resources were priced in dollars, making it the default currency for international trade and investment. This unique position created a constant, almost insatiable demand for dollars. It allowed the United States to borrow money at low interest rates and run up massive deficits, spending far more than any other nation could dream of without facing immediate consequences. The so-called petrodollar system, where oil-exporting countries agreed to price oil exclusively in dollars, further cemented America's financial dominance, ensuring that every country needed dollars to keep their economies running. But the world is changing fast. China and India, once considered developing economies, are now global powerhouses, driving much of the world's growth. Resource-rich nations in Africa, the Middle East and beyond are demanding a bigger voice in how the global economy is run. Many countries and their citizens feel the current system is unfair, rigged to benefit America at the expense of everyone else. They see the dollar's dominance as a tool of US influence and control. The dollar's throne, once seen as unshakable, is now facing real and growing threats. New economic powers are rising, and they're eager to challenge the old order. The most serious challenge in decades comes from the BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are actively working to create alternatives to the dollar for trade and reserves. The global financial order, once thought to be set in stone, is now shifting. Old alliances are being tested, and new partnerships are forming. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's how quickly it will arrive, and how dramatic it will be. The pace of transformation is accelerating, and the world is watching closely. Around the globe, countries and companies are preparing for a future where alternatives to the dollar are not just possible, but necessary. Digital currencies, regional trade blocs, and new financial technologies are all part of this evolving landscape. The era of the dollar's unquestioned dominance is drawing to a close. What comes next will reshape the world's economy, and everyone's place within it. Why now? The US has increasingly used the dollar as a weapon, imposing sanctions and freezing assets. When Russia's reserves were frozen after the Ukraine invasion, it sent shockwaves worldwide. Countries realized, your money is only safe if you're on America's good side. Add to that, America's ballooning $40 trillion debt. Foreign holders of US bonds are getting nervous. The risk. The US could print more dollars, devaluing everyone else's savings. Political gridlock in Washington only adds to the uncertainty. For BRICS, these were wake-up calls. They saw a system that's unpredictable and dangerous for anyone outside the US launching. The unit is their declaration of economic independence. It's about taking control of their own financial future. The old system is no longer trusted. The world is ready for a backup plan. So, what is the unit? It's not cash for your wallet, it's a trade currency for BRICS nations. Think of it as a digital ledger for settling payments, bypassing the US dollar and SWIFT. The unit is a basket currency, 40% backed by gold, 60% by BRICS national currencies. Gold is key, it's neutral, trusted, and can't be printed at will. This setup is meant to inspire confidence and stability. For example, Brazil can now buy from China using the unit, skipping the dollar entirely. Transactions are settled through BRICS financial institutions, outside US oversight. The goal: faster, cheaper, and sanction-proof trade. The unit is both a practical tool and a powerful symbol. It's a direct challenge to the dollar's monopoly. This isn't just talk. De-dollarization is happening. Around the world, governments and financial leaders are taking concrete steps to reduce their reliance on the US dollar, signaling a profound shift in the global economic landscape. What was once considered a distant possibility is now unfolding in real time, with major economies actively seeking alternatives to the dollar-dominated system. The dollar's share of global reserves has dropped from over 70% to under 58% in just 2 decades. This decline isn't just a statistical blip, it's a reflection of changing attitudes and strategies among central banks worldwide. As confidence in the dollar's long-term dominance wanes, countries are diversifying their reserves, looking for safer and more stable options. Central banks, especially in China, Russia, and India, are buying record amounts of gold. Gold is seen as a timeless store of value, immune to the political and economic pressures that can affect fiat currencies. These nations are building up their gold reserves as a hedge against dollar volatility and as a foundation for greater financial independence. The expanded BRICS bloc now accounts for 36% of global GDP and dominates trade in energy, goods, and agriculture. With new members joining, BRICS is becoming a powerhouse, shaping the rules of international commerce and challenging the traditional Western-led order. Major deals, like India buying Russian oil in rupees or China paying for Saudi oil in yuan, are already bypassing the dollar. These transactions are more than symbolic. They represent a growing willingness to conduct trade in local currencies, reducing exposure to US sanctions and currency fluctuations. The unit formalizes this trend, creating a massive economic zone where the dollar isn't needed. By establishing new mechanisms for trade and settlement, BRICS countries are laying the groundwork for a parallel financial system that operates independently of the dollar. BRICS is building its own financial infrastructure, banks, payment systems, and a SWIFT alternative. These new institutions are designed to facilitate cross-border transactions, provide development financing, and ensure that member countries can trade freely without relying on Western-controlled networks. This is the plumbing of a new financial order, Behind the scenes, advanced technology and secure networks are being put in place to support this emerging system, making it more resilient and adaptable to future challenges. The world is watching as BRICS creates a parallel universe for global trade. Investors, policymakers, and businesses everywhere are paying close attention, knowing that these changes could reshape the balance of power in international finance for decades to come. The dollar's role is shrinking, step by step. Each new agreement, each shift in reserves, chips away at the dollar's once unquestioned supremacy, signaling a new era of multipolar finance. The shift is real and accelerating. What started as a slow trickle has become a steady stream, with more countries and institutions joining the movement every month. The rules of global money are being rewritten. As new alliances form and old certainties fade, the world is entering a period of profound transformation, one where the future of money is up for grabs. Officially, the US is downplaying the unit, calling it a limited experiment. But behind the scenes, policymakers are watching closely. This is the biggest threat to the dollar in decades. The US points to its economic strength, deep markets, and rule of law as reasons for the dollar's staying power. Allies in Europe and Asia are cautious, tied to the dollar, but frustrated by US sanctions. Some, like France, openly want more independence from the dollar system. Skeptics point to BRICS's internal divisions. Can rivals, like China and India, really share a currency? Trust is the biggest hurdle for the unit. For now, the world is watching to see if this new alliance can hold together. The unit is historic, but don't expect the dollar to disappear overnight. The dollar's dominance is built into the global economy. Like the English language, it's everywhere. Network effects make it hard to replace. Everyone uses dollars because everyone else does. US Treasury markets are the world's deepest and safest. BRICS is a diverse group with competing interests. Building trust won't be easy. The unit is for trade, not yet a true reserve currency. For it to rival the dollar, it needs to be stable, convertible, and backed by a deep bond market. That will take years, maybe decades. The dollar's crown is dented but not gone. What does this mean for you? We're moving from a dollar-dominated world to one with competing currencies. For Americans, the dollar's exorbitant privilege will fade. Borrowing may get pricier, and imports could cost more. The US will face more constraints. The days of unlimited global credit are ending. For others, especially in BRICS countries, this shift means more choices and less dependence on US policy. Trade could become more stable and less costly. Economic sovereignty is increasing for many nations. The rise of the unit reflects a world where power is more distributed. This transition will be gradual, not sudden. The dollar will remain important, but it will have to share the stage. For everyone, the future of money is getting more complex and more uncertain. The story of global finance is entering a new chapter. Change is here, and it's just beginning. Thanks for watching.